The last episode in this channel that had my E39 M5 in it also featured an E30 325IS that belonged to my buddy Ed, and he and Tyler were trying to get it running after it had a blown head gasket and some timing issues, and that was going pretty well. They got the car back together at least, and as usual, I was super helpful.
Oh my god, he's using an impact on head bolts, what the?
Stop.
What color is that coolant, Ed?
I'm blind, looks blue. JB Weld on his oil pan, because he cracked it. So this green coolant is gonna be fine.
You can barely tell it's running. It runs, so it's not off by much. Alright, stop.
Eventually they actually got it running, and Ed got some aftermarket wheels for it, and I was supportive as ever.
This motherfucker does 4 years in the army, gets himself a yuppie mobile and puts reps on it and a fart can muffler. And here, I'm gonna level the suspension so that I want level wheel wells, not level pinch welds. Yeah, I see you over there, bitch.
So naturally I traded the ZHP for it.
We've got a little bit of everything here. That's just missing, and the motor doesn't work, and the door cards are trying their best to leave the chat. I genuinely can't tell you what's going on here. Lights are burned out there. These appear to be unobtainium, and I kind of hate sunroofs anyway, so whatever. Yeah, that's missing on that side. All of the vinyl on everything is nuking itself. The seats are blown out. I have no honest idea what's happening in the footwell. Yeah, oh yeah, the glove box, the dashboard, the usual things, but it does drive. So there's that. Brother, what in the f***ing... Oh, sweet. Quality automobile. Oh my god, the cruise control works. Never mind, best vehicle ever f***ing made.
So at this point, you're probably wondering why on earth I would do a trade like this, and honestly, I don't know. I guess I was just bored with the E46, and I like E30s. But as part of the trade deal, I managed to badger Ed into coming over and helping me fix a bunch of stuff on the car, to the point where he probably kind of regrets the trade now.
Jake, when you're editing, this is the turn signal. It fell apart. Wow.
The first two issues we needed to solve was the floppy shifter, which was solved with this bar here, and the exhaust manifold had broken apart. Fortunately, I managed to get a free set of headers, which meant that I then had to install a set of headers, which were not a particularly expensive set of headers, so we all know how this game goes. It took like a week. It was not fun. There's a whole lot of this. Once the obligatory open header startup was out of the way, I had to then get the headers to line up with the X-pipe that came with the headers. So you'd think it'd all just line up, but no. I had to do this sort of shenanigans, looping a ratchet strap around and using it like a come-along to pry the pipes over, and then going over to the top of the car and heating up the pipes themselves to relax them into their new position. It was real fun. I really enjoyed myself. Also, you can see the oil filter there. That's not coming out anymore.
Go! It still sounds like a Civic!
headers thusly installed, I started moving on to smaller things like the hood strut, which was completely missing, so I bought a new one off FCP Euro and got that installed, which was... Kinda wish I'd done that when we had all that other work under the hood to do, but fortunately the clutch master cylinder immediately crapped out, so Ed got to work under the hood anyway. I just held a camera. I thought the window motors would be an easy thing, but it turned out to be a twofold issue with the switch. First of all, there was some abraded insulation that was shorting out, and then one of the switches was actually pinned incorrectly, and also the switches themselves were bad. So I got all that fixed, and then I had functional power windows, almost like a real car or something. This meant the next issue of note was the suspension, which in this case was a set of CX Racing coilovers, and which are not exactly known for their stupendous ride, so I got some Bilstein inserts and some stock shock knuckle things to put them in, and some lowering springs, and also everything else to rebuild the front end, which Ed and I worked together to do. So new Bilstein shocks, I don't know, Voigt something, lowering springs, new hubs in the front, just all of the things in general to make the car ride a little bit better. The reason that so much work was necessary is because aftermarket coilovers actually require cutting and welding the stock shock assemblies, so I had to find these locally, which was actually pretty difficult. While Ed was working on the suspension, I also installed these new seats I got. They're knockoffs of old Recaros, and I got some Recaro adapter mounts that I then adapted further to actually fit the seats, and they are a massive upgrade in comfort and looks over the completely blown out quote-unquote comfort seats that this car had before. So between the suspension and the new seats and the functioning windows, this was almost turning into a luxury automobile of some sort.
Yeah, that's how an E30 should sit. Lower in the back. If you're an adult. Yay! So V8 shocks, and you have H&R fronts.
On Steiner rears.
Yeah.
Didn't even feel that pothole there.
This is so much better. Oh, and also the Recaro knockoff passenger seat is in, and driver's seat was installed a couple weeks ago.
I'm in comfort now.
Transmission still sounds like it's trying to leave the chat, but
It sounds like straight cut gears, which is dope.
it's basically a race car. It's so much more comfortable than it was.
Needs an alignment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so much better. This ride's like the E92 now.
Fun E30 prank to play on your friends. Pull out the DME while they're driving.
Now that the car was riding at a tolerable fashion, now there was the issue of everything clunking and rattling in the suspension, so I ordered a few parts to hopefully resolve that and headed to pit stop to install them.
17.
Boy, that exhaust, it's some quality right there. It only hangs down a whole bunch. Oh yeah, we need to eat this muffler still. Shiny.
I was told that these polyurethane lollipops would affect ride quality, so stock it is.
You know, I'm really glad you've got these pinch weld protectors. We really wouldn't want anything to happen to the pinch welds on this car. That would be a real shame. Wow, you had this second one on. Apparently I can see how. You just got it really wet first. You had the second one on like I turned on for 5 seconds to answer Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, I gave it that
Huck to it. Yeah, funny. That meme's already dead. But what was your technique?
It'll be especially dead by the time you finish editing this video.
Oh yeah, in 3 to 6 business months. So what was your technique here?
Big hammer.
Oh, there it is.
Not that one. That one. It's the wrong way to do it. Like you're supposed to press this on, but
Yeah.
I had socket and hammer.
Cool.
It's a German hammer, so sort of proper.
It's a von Hitten big and Hitten.
Gador, 2 kilogram. Buy one. They're worth it.
And then I got the new inner and outer tie rods on. The boots temporarily kind of slipped over there. So now we need sway bar bushings.
Yeah.
Put the end links back on.
We need the bushy boys.
Yeah, they're sitting right there. And yeah, then we just tidy some things together. We're gonna grease the rack. This car doesn't have power steering, probably never will. I mean, at least it won't with this rack on it. If I decide to put power steering back on here, it is getting a different steering rack for sure.
And then we'll do a Volvo electric pump.
Yeah, a yellow tag rack and power steering is kind of the move, though.
Yeah, but a Volvo power steering pump.
Oh, because electric, yeah, and then
Boogie woogie.
yeah, that would be nifty. Yeah, and then alignment, and hopefully this thing will ride like a pillow with our Bilsteins.
To the surprise of absolutely nobody, the stock suspension stuff was completely blown out. These unlinks had probably needed replacement since 20 years ago, and the sway bar itself was an amazing pain to put in. But we got all that done, and then I swapped out this jank cone filter for a factory airbox that I got, and then the car effectively was done.
What we're left here then is a functional car, and I know that's not really an accomplishment considering we started with a functional E46, but I like this better. It's more different, it's more unique. It's not just another 2000s sedan like I've had so many of. And I'm gonna say something very controversial right now, but a few of my friends and I are in agreement. I've driven a few air-cooled 911s. There's a lot of hype for air-cooled 911s, they go for a whole lot of money. Why? Well, the driving experience and the looks. Now this can't match 911 on looks, but I do think that this gets to 80% of the driving experience for fractions as much money. Now obviously Porsche is a far more emotional brand. There's a lot more to it than just, this one's better. But this has the same Teutonic feeling 80s vibe to it. It drives, you know, people say like a go-kart. This drives like a go-kart, a lot like air-cooled 911s do. It doesn't feel super floppy like a lot of its contemporary cars from the era, especially domestics, like the Fox body. Very similar power delivery, just not quite as much of it, depending on which 911 we're talking about. I honestly feel like this 325 IS might actually put up a decent fight against a normal, a Carrera? I don't speak Porsche. And I've driven some nice air-cooled, I've driven some not-so-nice air-cooled, and even the not-so-nice ones are worth $20,000 to $30,000. And that gets you your pick of extremely nice 325 ISs. And I don't understand why on earth anyone would not go for the latter. The car is cheaper, the parts are cheaper, there's more parts variety out there, a lot more directions you can take your build without just being a Magnus Walker impersonator. Similar amounts of OEM support. BMW still makes a lot of parts for this car, which is impressive. And I just really like driving it now. The steering is direct and lightweight. The short shifter is pretty okay. Still a little bit of work to be done there. There's still a lot of play in gear, but you take what you can get. The sound above 5,000 RPM is just massive. I definitely want to do something about that exhaust. It sounds very raspy from the outside, but it's a lot of fun from inside the car. I have my choice of about half a dozen different steering racks that I could throw in this thing to change the ratios, put power steering back in it, etc. I'm sure I'll pursue something like that eventually. But for now, it's decent enough to take to car shows, decent enough to drive around, might even track it. Thanks as always to my patrons for sticking with me through whatever this era of my YouTube channel is. And I think we'll do one more blast up to 6,000 RPM. As soon as the light turns green. As soon as the light turns green. As soon as the light turns green. Also, my review of these Bilstein is quite good. It feels like a lightweight car on good quality coilovers. It's not bouncy, it's not crashy. Very smooth. It's like there's a reason they're a big name. Here we go.